Okay, so in this video, we're going to be going over the text object motions in Vim. And just before we get started, there are a few, so apologies for the length of the video beforehand. And then I'll also be using a few different files just to show, because some of them just are a lot easier to show in different programming languages. And third, if I mess up or in terms like stutter or pause too much, then apologies. There are a lot of these motions in the list, and I get my words mixed up when I talk in these videos. Okay, so the first one we'll do is W, which moves you to the beginning of the next word. So W, W, W. And as you notice there, when I was on pre-trained, when I hit the hyphen, so if I just go back, when I hit the hyphen, it considers special characters such as a hyphen as a separator between words. So the hyphen itself is also considered its own word. And when I go to train, it's the next word, so on and so forth. The only one of these special characters that you have to watch out for is underscore, because underscore is not treated as a separator between words. So if I do W again, it counts the underscore as part of the whole word, train data in that case. Okay, and then the next motion is B, which goes back to the beginning of the previous word. So it goes to the beginning of the previous word. And the same separator rules apply here. The next one is E, which goes to the end of the next word. And then we have GE, which goes to the end of the previous word. So GE. Now it's worth noting that for all of these motions, in fact, all of the motions in this video, they all can take account. So if I do 2W, it moves me 2 words ahead. If I do 3W, it moves me 3W ahead. So just keep that in mind. Same with, B, 3B, 3 words. So this is the count argument counts for all motions in this video. So I'm not going to be re-explaining that just to save on some time. Next we are the capital variants or the shift variants. So W takes me a word forward, but shift W takes me a big word forward. So big word is my own, terminology. In the docs, never mind. I just like using the word big word. As opposed to the lowercase variants, when I did W here, or B, it took into consideration, it doesn't count the special characters as separators, but with the capital variants or the uppercase variants, it only counts blank characters as the separators between words, so spaces and tabs and enters. So shift B as well, or uppercase B, only considers blank characters as separators between words. The same with shift E, and likewise G shift E, G shift E, G shift E. Okay, so those are all the basic ones for words. I'm going to quickly switch to a different document over here with more text. Hopefully it's clear what all is in here. So the next one we have is close parentheses, which takes me to the beginning of the next sentence, specifically the first non-blank character of the next sentence. And I can do close parentheses again, and again. Again, all of these motions can take a number, so on and so forth. Open parentheses takes me to the beginning of the previous sentence. So that's how you move in between sentences, and sentences are defined as, they end in a period or even a quotation mark. If you see this ended in a quotation mark, I believe question marks also counted as well. We also have the curly braces, which moves between paragraphs. So closed curly braces takes you to at the end of the next paragraph. Well, not necessarily the end of the next paragraph, or well, the beginning of the next. You know what I mean? Moves you forward. Actually, I want to check that. Okay. Open brace, that takes you backwards. I just want to check with my wording quickly. So, closed brace, okay, takes you to the end of the next paragraph. So I was right with that one. Open brace takes you to the beginning of the previous paragraph. So if I open that as well, it takes you to the beginning of the previous paragraph. So I wanted to make sure my wording was correct there. So that's how you move in between paragraphs. Now I'm just going to switch to some Java code, yeah, because the next one is easily explained in code. Again, this is not specific to Java. It works in any files, just easiest use cases, yeah. So the first one we have is closed bracket, closed brace, which takes you to the next closing brace, or takes you forward to the next closing brace. If I do that again, okay, I think you might be confused with where the cursor is. So when I do a close bracket curly brace, whichever the white one is, that's the one I'm on, not the red one. The default highlighting in Vim, just if in case you're confused. Okay, so wherever the white one is, that's the one I'm on. So if I do closed bracket brace again, it takes me to the brace all the way down here. So the technical terming, it looks for the next open brace, as far as, yeah, unclosed brace, if that makes sense. So in this case, since it's nested braces, yeah, if I do that, it'll find the first closing, closing brace, and then this finds the next closing brace relative, the next unclosed closing brace. If I'm butchering the words, yeah, I hope you can see what I mean there. It will skip these because these are a closed pair and these are a closed pair, but from all the way up here, from where I am on this line, the next one, this one here, on this line, this closing brace, is the next unclosed closing brace. The next open closing brace. Again, apologies if the words are confusing. And then similarly, if I do open square bracket, open brace, right, it finds the backwards it finds the next open brace. If I do that, the next open brace, and it has the same rules as the closing brace. So if I do square bracket open brace, it takes me here, and the next one will take me to the next unopened one. Hopefully this makes sense. My wording today is admittedly not the best, and I'm just going to quickly try and perform a substitution. So say I just removed all the closing braces in this whole document. So if I come here and then do open bracket open brace, it obviously will just move among them as you would normally expect, just to the previous opening brace. Okay, and yeah, it's worth mentioning that these, so with what I explained earlier, yeah, it's worth mentioning with the braces, there's only a closing and a closing. There's no closing opening variant. And similarly, there's only an opening, and there's no opening closing variant. Just to keep that in mind. And then I'm gonna switch back over to the Python code to explain the next one. The next one I might have explained. I don't know if I'm gonna explain it anyway. So we have the same thing for parentheses. So if I do close bracket, close parentheses, it takes me to the next closing parentheses with the same rules as the braces. And if I do it again, it takes me to the next one. So this works well with, nesting. But otherwise, outside of nesting, it doesn't really do much. And then if I do open bracket, open parentheses, it takes me to the next, in this case, it jumps all the way back up here. Let's start from in here. If I do open bracket, open parentheses, it takes me to the first opening parentheses you can find. If I do that again, the next opening parentheses. But if I just, I'm here at the moment by the white cursor. If I do it again from here, open bracket, open parentheses, you see it jumped this one because this is a closed pair. It'll look for the next open one. So again, works best in nesting, but otherwise not really all that useful. Okay. Again, only a closing pair exists. Closing. There's no closing opening, and there's no opening closing pair. Okay. Cool. Next we have ones for sections. So I'm going to switch over to some C code for now. And it's just coming up. We have closing square bracket, which takes me to the beginning of the next section. In C code, next section is just, the next, block with curly braces. So this whole block here is considered a section. So doing two close brackets takes me to the beginning of the next section, and again the beginning of the next section. And if you just keep doing it and there's no other section you can find, it just takes you to the end of the document. And then similarly, a double opening brackets takes me to the beginning of the previous section. So it goes backwards, the same thing but backwards. The beginning of the previous section. And if there's no section you can find, it goes all the way to the top of the document. Okay. Next we have close bracket, open bracket, which, if I can send here, takes me to the end of the next section. Close bracket, open bracket takes me to the end of the next section. And if you can't find one, end of the document. Similarly, open bracket, close bracket takes me to the end of the previous section. Same thing here. So that's how it works for sections in C, but it also, from what I read in the docs, works in graph type documents. Personally, I've never written anything in graph. I don't do man pages or anything. But if you work with these type of documents, I think you're smart enough to figure out what, you can read the docs to find out what exactly classifies as sections in terms of Vim. So in this case, it recognizes the .sh's in this document. And yeah, I think that should go. 1 second, sorry for the silence. If I do open bracket closed, again, if you work with these type of documents, you'll figure it out for yourself. Okay, now I'm also gonna just quickly jump back to Java to explain the next few ones. Okay, so we have close bracket M, which takes me to the start of the next method. So close bracket M, the start of the next method, close bracket M, start of the next method. It's worth noting that this works for Java styled methods. So if you know what that means, it just means whenever you define a function, the curly brace is on the same line as the function name, as opposed to traditional C coding where you put the brace on the next line. So this works with Java styled function defining. So we also have open bracket M, which takes me to the beginning of the previous excuse me the previous method. Just worth noting, it doesn't really work properly with classes. So if I do this, M, so close bracket M to go to the beginning of the next one, close bracket M, close bracket M, it then hits the end of the class basically. So it works fine with functions all on the same level, but once there's nesting, and specifically, once there's nesting, it won't like work perfectly. It won't automatically jump from this opening all the way to, say, this opening, or well, if I do probably, or this opening. Just keep that in mind. Okay, so next we have close bracket Shift M, close bracket Shift M, which takes me to the end of the next method. Close bracket Shift M, end of the next method, so on and so forth. Again, with classes, it tends to, like you see there, on this one, it should have just taken me to the, I'm not 100% sure. I don't use this much. It does seem to not work 100% as you would expect. Like in this case, where the white cursor is, it took me to the end of this method, and then suddenly, it works as well. So just keep that in mind with the with the method motions. Similarly, we have open bracket Shift M, which takes me to the end of the previous function. If I just come up to these guys, if I do open bracket Shift M, takes me to the end of the previous one, open bracket Shift M, end of the previous one. Just, I don't know, keep some things in mind when actually using these motions to jump in between methods, and there's nesting involved. Okay, the next one we have is close bracket star, which takes you to the end of the next comment block with these style comments, so the slash star comments. It won't work on comments that are just double slashes or any other comments, to be frank. So again, close bracket star, the end of the next comment, close bracket star, end of the next comment, open bracket star takes you to the beginning of the previous comment, open bracket star, beginning of the previous bracket. And then the final one we have is very specific to C, as far as I know. So in C, you can have these if else, end if directives, and we have, so it's easier to just show. If I do close bracket hash, nothing happens. What it does is it tries to find unclosed else or end if statements. So now if I do close bracket hash, it goes to the beginning of the next unclosed else statement. If I do it again, it will just go to end if over here. Yeah. So long as you know, if you're doing C, you'll know what an unclosed if else if statement looks like. So that only works with the close bracket hash only works with unclosed else or else ifs or end ifs. Now we have open bracket hash, which does nothing in this case. What we need is an unclosed if statement for it to work. So if I do open bracket hash, it goes to the previous unclosed if statement. Again, sorry if I've butchered my words throughout this whole video, but it's really, I'm not really articulate with this sort of thing. So yeah, keep in mind, all of these do take numbered arguments. Every single motion I've described in this video takes a numbered argument. So if I have two unclosed if statements, if I do 2 open bracket hash, it will jump, 2 unclosed if statements up. It works the same with all the other ones. Yeah, that's actually it for this video. Sorry about the Java explanation of the methods one. Just I literally don't know why it misbehaves like that. Just other than it doesn't do well with the nesting. But yeah, next video, I can't remember. Well, I'll see you in the next video anyways. Cheers.